Robin's Vineyard feels the same way. You grow this stuff and you tend to it, and we have to net the trees that we have so that the birds don't get into them. And we spent just yesterday morning, we spent an hour or so getting 3 orioles out of one of the trees because they managed to work their way in under the net. Somehow they love to dive bomb and work their way in, or they'll find seeds in where if there are multiple nets that are pieced together to get over the tree, and they'll find their way in. And once mom or dad has found that, the bro and sis or the kids will find their way in too. And there were 3 orioles in underneath this thing, and it's okay. All right, yes, you get out, and so now I got to take the net all the way off the tree and then put the net all the way back on the tree and reseal it up again. And oh well. I didn't get a single cherry out of that. I just had to unnet the tree and renet the tree just to let the tree rolls out. But you live. You're too pretty. And I mean, for that matter, it's a lot worse when I have to do that for robins and sparrows because they all live too. And but doggone it,
they're your
not
cherries.
Even that pretty.
Get out of my tree.
Yeah.
Hey, unless they're going to come in and help you pick, they don't get to eat them, okay? It's just the way these things work.
Well, it's possible they help by eating the bugs before the fruit's ready. Maybe they help.
Maybe, a little bit.
Well, anyways.
Yeah.
It's just all part of the package.
Most of us are familiar with handling fruit up to, say, a 5-gallon batch. Like, I know how long it takes me to go through enough red currants to make a 5-gallon batch. How do you handle fruit when you scale it up into industrial scale?
Well, at that point, in instances, and we're using frozen fruit on the larger batches, and it just takes... It's the tasks that, as for an amateur, would take you 15 or 20 minutes or an hour become a day, and instead of being the work of one person, they become the work of 3. And so, yeah, when we're crushing the fruit for the Black Agnes, there are 3 of us that work at it for a full day, and it's really labor intensive, and we're working on possible solutions to that. We're always looking for ways that we can improve the either the yield if we can keep the quality the same, or the quality if we can keep the yield the same. It's all a way for us to try and keep them. We want to make the mead better. As good as we possibly can, and then we James and Scott and Rasan and I spend a lot of time sitting and talking. Okay, what can we do? What can we do this next batch? How can we improve the transfer from primary to secondary, and how can we improve the fruit removal and the mead separation, so that the amount of waste that we've got from kind of sludge that's got to go down the drain can be minimized, or so that we're sure that we're not over extracting seed tannins or all those things. It's a matter of thinking and talking and discussing between the 3 or 4 of us and trying to. Or 5 of us in some instances, to try and figure out what our best approach is, and we make minor tweaks in it. But I mean, a lot of it's just what is it? Well, it's just a lot of people doing really hard work. Yeah, I mean, when we put a ton of cherries into a fermenter, that's that's 2 or 3 guys putting a ton of cherries into a ferment.
And I'm guessing you can't fruit bag that. So how do you get it out again without making a mess?
Well, we use a thing called a pump over cart, which allows us to, and a lot of it when you do a fermentation that large, you end up with a fruit cap on top, and this is the same thing that fruit that winemakers deal with. You ferment the thing and do punch downs with it, and the CO2 drives the fruit up to the top, and then you end up with a big pool of mead underneath and a bunch of floating fruit on the top, and we pump out from underneath the fruit and through a pump over cart that allows us to use mesh bags to separate out the fruit that's in there, and then we pump out of the pump over cart into the secondary storage tank, and then what's left in the tank gets shoveled out and off to hopefully become compost somewhere. So yeah, and it's once again, you got to get the fruit into the tank, and then you've got to get the spent fruit out of the tank, and both of those are day-long.
Non-trivial.
Yeah, non-trivial. It's how we stay in shape.
That's what I call an exercise plan there.
Oh, God.
We've got food grade shovels that we use, and we just shovel it out into bins.
That's a long way from that romantic picture of the guy walking through the trees, sipping on a glass of wine, huh?
Oh no, it is. When you're shoveling out black currants, it is sweaty and messy, in ways that it's not really possible to explain fully on the radio.
You're never getting those socks clean again, huh?
I have. And Gene,
we're marked explicit, so it's okay to say those things on the radio.
Yeah, well, stuff, and I've ruined a lot of clothes.
I'll bet that makes whoever does the laundry in your house happy. Is that you or somebody else?
Well, lately, Jean just retired, so she's been doing more of the laundry than I used to try and contribute a lot more than I have lately, and I'm really grateful to my wife for doing that. But then, yeah, she does get a little bummed out, especially if she's the one that bought that shirt.
Yeah. John's the laundry person around here. He says I don't do it well enough, so he took over a while back. But yeah, if I was doing that to my clothes, I'd get some nasty looks, especially if it then went and turned something of his pink, which has been known to happen.
I have done that.
Yeah, that really sucks.
Whereas I have been known to say, oh, well, it's stained already, wad it up and soak it and consider it dyed a new color.
Yeah. I have a few shirts that need to do that.
Maybe you ought to just go with that color for the Schramm's Mead shirts, and it'd be much easier.
We have the staff shirts
black
are black.
Currant tie-dye, that's it.
Yeah,
the
black
staff shirts are black, and they definitely get used for those load-ins and pump-outs. But I got caught the other day. I was doing a punch-down, and punch-downs, you ask about the other physical processes that are associated with using a lot of fruit, and one of them is punch-downs. And we don't have a pneumatic punch-down system yet. And when you're punching down a tank that's got 3,700 liters of must in it, you're punching down for a while. It's a 20-minute punch down to get all that stuff smushed back, and get it back, pushed down into the liquid. And we use a punch down tool. It's a stainless steel tool that you can buy from most commercial winemaking supply companies, and it's about a 12-inch stainless steel disc on a pole. Well, if you're really good at it, you can do it pretty neatly, but inevitably there's a time when you're going to do this when the amount of CO2 that's built up under 3,700 liters worth of fruit and stuff, when it comes out, it's just gonna spit at you. and you can't really help it, man. There's not. I mean, you can try and be really careful, but we have, and I got to be better about this. This is me going from being just a kind of a homebrew guy to learning to make this stuff on a larger commercial scale. We do have aprons that I can put on, but I find them. Well, that's the other problem too. Is when you're standing at the top of a platform ladder doing this punch down, it's pretty warm up there. I don't want to be. I don't want to put on an apron, but
that raises a whole different set of images that we just probably don't even want to talk about on the radio.
It's more like a butcher's apron.
Come on, no judging.
I'm not wearing something that's a little, white, light blue gingham plaid Betty Crocker thing
with the little frills.
Well,
Frills
no,
on the
I was
edge,
saying when you were
Yep.
saying, it's hot up there because you're at the top of the building and there's a lot of heat coming off of these batches of mead, and that just made me think of something Glenn posted the other day where he's in Scottsdale and he was like, I wonder if I just go to work in a tasteful Speedo. So that was just,
Don't think there's such thing.
yeah, I don't know, but that just when you said it gets really warm up there, and I'm thinking, oh, tasteful Speedos, with the Transmead logo across the behind.
There are no recording devices of any type permitted for that session.
Oh, okay. Those are the special punch downs.
Middle of the night punch down.
Middle of the night punch downs. Yeah. Like Brad was posting yesterday. He's like, I'm all alone in the meadery. It's all mine. You don't have a skateboard ramp, so you got to do something.
I know we're going to have something pretty soon, but
You're gonna have to, yeah. I don't know how you're gonna beat a skateboard ramp, but
I don't. I want a pool table.
Oh, that'd be cool.
It might be a little bit mundane, and it doesn't involve bracing your wrists at any point.
Yeah.
But
well, Brad's a lot younger than we are too, so there's that.
Is
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but this way you can, if there's a particularly nasty job, you can always, best 2 out of 3 to see who has to take the nasty one.
And pool and drinking does go together.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No, I have long been a fan of that.
Oh, that was half my dates in high school were at the pool joint, the pizza and pool joint in town.
You didn't drink in high school, did you, Vicky?
Me? No.
Not that anybody knew of.
No, I mean we would go. Honestly, they're at small town. Okay, not exactly that many places for somebody under the age of 21 to go. But the pizza place that was also a pool and bowling alley was where a lot of us went. So, yeah, place is gone now, sadly. But we got a tag in from Joel just before the show started. Your buddy Joel, and where is he? Australia? Or,
in Australia, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And he said, first of all, to ask you, how's the Vegemite?
Almost gone.
Yeah.
Almost. Salty, delicious, almost gone.
All right, Joel, you had to send him some more Vegemite. And he also had a question. He said, generally the acid balances out the sweetness of the honey, and he reckons you'll explain it better. But he'd like to know, in order to get the balance in the ballpark, do you suggest using more honey initially so it ferments out, leaving a decent whack of residual honey, or would you recommend back sweetening to achieve that balance?
I prefer to try and add a lot of sugar up front. I think back sweetening works, and it does provide a way to counter something that's gotten too dry. But if you know what the fermentative capacity of your yeast strain is, and you know where you want to end up, and for some of our meads, that's really, really sweet. I mean, the Black Agnes is one of the sweetest beverages that I know that's available commercially. It finishes with staggering amounts of sugar in it. But you can accommodate that by starting really high. And one of the really nice advantages is that 71B has a really high osmotic tolerance. It will start to ferment at sugar levels that will put off other yeasts. There are yeast strains that can't handle. I mean, the yeast strains have both alcohol tolerances and osmotic tolerances. Osmotic meaning, how much sugar is dissolved in the liquid when you get started. And 71B has a really high osmotic tolerance, and we'll start meads that have almost